Welcome back, Sabercats. I'm Kaylin.
And I'm Tegan, and we are your CVTV anchors.
At the start of the school year, CalCVU implemented a new phone policy, which has sparked controversy among the staff and students.
Corbin and Ryan went out and asked staff and students their opinion on this new policy.
Last year, I feel like they definitely, in the beginning of the year, they tried to get it a little bit more strict and they tried to put it up. And then as the year went by, they kind of stopped paying attention to the cell phones. And so that's how it's different from this year. This year they don't, they're way more strict on it. They're paying attention to it more. And I feel like it's starting to create, kids are, distancing themselves from their phones, which, that's a good thing. I like how they're able to separate themselves from that. But it's also separating kids from the outside world during school, which can, for some kids, create them to be real more isolated. It helps me stay more focused, but I also feel like since I have a lot of energy and stuff, I struggle with energy. I kind of need some way to get it out, and since I can't just focus on one thing, I'll get distracted by other things. I like how it kind of distances myself from my phone, because sometimes I feel like I don't need my phone all that often, and it's kind of like a nice refresh. But I dislike it because there's no way of me contacting other people or anything like that if I don't have my phone. So if there's an emergency or something, I'd rather have my phone on me.
Well, the cell phone policy affects my classroom because we get more done. Because I think students are less distracted, or they seem less distracted without their phones. So for teachers, I think it's I do appreciate the cell phone policy, although I understand that students don't appreciate the cell phone policy. I haven't really seen much of a difference this year than last year. It seems like it was being forced last year, so I haven't really seen much of a difference at all. My likes are that cell phones are put away during class, which allows us to be a little bit more productive. My dislikes are when students still go over to the cell phone and look up texts or whatever. So, yeah. I don't really personally have a problem, but I think that I'm a little bit biased because I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum when it comes to what people's thoughts are. So I may not be the best source if you're looking for an alternate opinion to bad stuff about the cell phone policy.
Clover's Closet is a local nonprofit organization that provides students with formal wear for dances. For the past couple of weeks, students have filled their stores. Haley and Tegan went to learn more about this organization.
Clover's Closet was founded in 2019 when then Assistant Principal Ryan Hollingshead assumed that we would be doing it when I was just asking if anybody else was doing it, and so we did it. It's very gratifying. Specifically when we see people coming in that really need to be here. I think that one of the first prom shops, I had a couple girls come in that I had worked with when I worked over at Southridge, and they were here for hours trying on dresses, and one of the volunteers had said, wow, they've been here for so long. And I said, I think they're used to not being able to get so much in a store that when they know they can get anything, they just tried on everything. And that was great.
It has benefited us because, well, since the dresses are free, we can find some really nice dresses without having to spend so much money, and then we can wear these dresses to different school functions.
The first prom shop over at the outlets, we put it together from scratch in 3 weeks. So not a lot of time to market, not a lot of time to tell people. So we didn't get to a lot of people, but we did serve the reservation in South Dakota.
Oh,
so that was
right.
good.
I recall that. But this last prom season, 300 students were served. So that's significant. Last weekend it was 186 students served the first weekend. So one of the students that just left came from Aurora. We have students that come from Colorado Springs, the surrounding metro area. So it's not just Douglas County, it's not just Castle Rock that is served. The reach is far and wide.
It's like tentacles.
Like tentacles.
Sorry.
Castleview has welcomed new teachers this year, one of which is Miss Castor. Charlie and Jacob learned more about her.
I wanted to come here because I was looking for jobs, and this was one of the availabilities. They also have a wonderful mentor program for teachers as well, and I have some family friends that are from the area.
What do you like about this school?
The students, the employees, the culture here is wonderful. I love my class. Each class has its own personality, like a combined personality, and I love all my classes. They're really wonderful.
What made you want to teach?
I really like history, and I like working with people, and so combined I got to do both as a history teacher. I was finishing up my degree in university, and I got my teaching license, and I was dog sitting for work. I kind of mentioned this, but I really like history. I'm very passionate about it, and I like working with people, so I got to combine two of my passions, and I get to do it and get paid for it. It's really great. Just the people here are really wonderful, and they're really positive. They're really driven. You won't find that at other schools. People here are really genuine people. Yes.
Our library over the summer got a remodel, creating a better place for students to hang out.
Nikki, Emma, and I went to the library to see all the new changes.
One of the biggest changes that I think students have noticed is that we now ask students to scan in and out when they come into the library. We made that change for a couple of reasons. Most of the high school libraries in the district keep track of how many kids come in and out of the library, so it's really good data for us about how many kids we serve. Another reason we're doing it is for safety reasons. We know a lot of the kids in the building, but we don't know everybody, so it's nice to have a record of who comes in and when they're here. And I think the third reason we did it is just to sort of encourage that kids are using the space purposefully and that they're not in here when maybe they should be in an academic class.
And it's sort of like in the same way that when you go into class, they take attendance, we take attendance in the library. And then in the event of an evacuation, anything like that, we have a record of who's in here and who's not.
Yep. And we're learning kids' names a lot faster because when they scan their ID, we either look at it or we're able to see in our spreadsheet who they are. And so it's been really nice to know who the kids are who we spend our days with. One of the other big changes we made was actually over the summer, and it is the design of our space.
So we felt like the space just wasn't being used in the way that it could be most purposefully. So we spent a lot of the time last year and over the summer kind of thinking what that could look like. And we totally redesigned the library without spending any money.
So we have kids, we host lots of book clubs, we're hosting the NHS tutoring, and that's a much more structured format this year. We also have lots of kids who play games and do puzzles while they're in here, so the space is really full, but we definitely have fewer kids sort of wandering in when they're on their way to or from the bathroom, so it feels like everybody's in here with a purpose. I think there's even a greater push from the district library team that we know how many kids we serve. It's really helpful for purposes of funding and applying for grants, and also the safety element of just knowing how many kids are in the space at a given time. So I imagine that these are here to stay.
This year, Castleview has decided not to hold a homecoming court.
Annalise shares more information on what went into this decision.
We probably aren't going to do homecoming court at all. Most of the schools in the district have gone away from it. It's just kind of a old tradition we don't need anymore that kind of turns into a popularity contest. I don't think royalty is necessary for a homecoming. Homecoming court usually is just people nominate all of their friends. It just kind of turned into who can convince the most people to write their name down.
I'm going to vote for Regina George because she got hit by that bus.
I'm voting for Katie Heron because she pushed her.
A few years we tried doing it where teachers nominated people based on kind of different categories for teachers, And the kids in student government said that felt a little weird too, because the students weren't part of it. And then when we couldn't really come up with a better solution, we're not doing it this year. And maybe we'll try again next year. We'll see.
I mean, I feel like that's like a homecoming thing. Like, I feel like they should do it. They did it last year, so I don't know why they shouldn't do it this year.
I thought it was pretty bad because I feel like homecoming court is such an essential part of homecoming, and like people who are really well known in the school should get their, highlight moment.
I have to tell you, I was a little bummed. I understand that it's a bit of an old tradition, but I think it's a fun way to honor some of our students. I think Castleview's always done a pretty good job of honoring students who do the right thing, who represent like the best of us. So I gotta tell you, I was a little bummed to see that we didn't have a homecoming court. It's so much fun to have a homecoming court.
It's more well-known kids that usually get nominated for it, but I don't think that's really an issue because those are the people that are going to get votes and get people's attention and get people hyped.
I think there's a difference between it being a popularity contest and it being mean-spirited. And I don't know that y'all ever got mean-spirited with it. And so I certainly hope that we always select people and elect people who are representative of, like I said, the best parts of Saber-Cat Nation. But I'm not so worried about honoring students who know a lot of people and are involved in a lot of stuff and communicate with a lot of different friend groups and have people who like them. Like, sometimes that's okay. We can honor people like that.
That was the last segment of the show.
If you want to see more, check out our Instagram at CV Student Media or our website, cvstudentmedia.com. Once again, I'm Tegan.
And I'm Kaylin. We'll see you next time.